Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Red and Dreaad Podcast, broadcasting from the land of overworked, but still undefeated. Today, we have a special guest in the building, someone that actually thinks about life beyond the grind.
It's true.
Um,
You.
let's welcome Sarah Bird to the show, the director of Kanha Production and a good friend of mine, and
Th
Reds.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on the show. Welcome. I know we have been talking about it for a while, so it's cool to get things rolling.
Yeah, it's nice to have a platform to be able to discuss this kinda stuff too, so, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely the place for that. All right, so let's just dive right in. If money stopped mattering tomorrow and work was not essential to your survival in life, what would you actually do with your life?
I mean, I feel like personally, I'm still figuring that out. I feel like I have endless hobbies and limited time to figure them out and actually explore them. So, probably in, like, a non-capitalist society, I'm some sort of artist living on the street. Or maybe not if shelter's available. But, yeah, I don't know. What are you doing?
It is, I agree with you. It's a tough question. Like, if you really think about it, it's so much free time.
Mhm.
So it's kind of, for me, I had to kind of break it up into sections. Like, I feel like I would still be trying to express myself creatively some way, like probably maybe still doing like podcasts like we're doing now,
Mhm.
kind of thing, because I'm not necessarily looking for um, financial gain from it necessarily. It's just more of a way to like express myself and voice my opinions and talk with really good people about like really interesting concepts and even
Mhm.
controversial concepts. So for me, I think I would still be doing something like this now. I could even dedicate more time to that, uh,
Mhm.
or just finding other ways to express myself creatively because I do feel like I need to, and I would obviously have the time for that. Now, could you call that work necessarily? I don't think so because
It's
I
a
would be
hobby.
enjoying it. Yeah, I'd be enjoying it too much. So
Yeah. It's an activity. Yeah. No, I don't think it's work. I think that saying is true. Like, it's not really work if you're enjoying it, you know? And it's a hobby.
yeah, exactly. What do you think, Red? What are you doing?
I really got stuck on the idea of, trying to get in the mindset of communities that already, reject the idea of money or are communal already. Like
Mhm.
in Papua New Guinea, there's no money there, but, you know, multiple different societies living and, killing each other.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of people pursuing to be the best at something still. So I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of trying to find what is, a purposeful human experience. But then you have people like monks and ascetics. Are they really, pursuing, excellence or even growth, or are they just trying to stagnate as hard as possible, covered in mud in the forest?
Hmm.
So, I don't know. I would probably continue just exploring that idea. I don't think you can. I don't know. I don't think you can escape work. Um.
Should
Yeah.
you? It's kind of like, should
Yeah.
you go
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
that
Like,
challenge?
like the ascetics, like they really have escaped work, right? They don't bathe themselves.
Mm. Mhm.
they
I didn't say
They
all that.
don't feed themselves. No, you come on, don't say that. Don't put that don't put that on you. That's
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like bathing, and I do like I like my material objects too. That's something I was thinking about as well. It's like I don't necessarily think that it's, that it's work and like capitalism as a whole that's the problem. I think what the real issue is that the wage gap is just too large. I think that if we could figure that out to where people who are doing the labor, the manual labor work are being paid enough to be able to survive and be able to participate in the economy by buying the things that they want, that I don't think that we're going to see the same burnout issues. People are happier, they have like time to travel, time to take off of work. I don't think that you're going to see the same like absence of individuality, um
and
if that makes sense.
what does that look like? Is that co-oping? Is that
I think it's like
that
personally like
employee-owned
working
companies?
like 3 days a week, like working like 3 days a week. Like it's working to support yourself but not to give your whole life away to a company, you know?
And have nothing to show for it. I mean, with respect to what people do have, I mean, sometimes you just feel like you're working so hard and to a degree you only have like basic needs. Like I have a house and stuff, a car, but it's just
Mhm.
like I can't do these other things that I would like to do, but I'm working hard. I'm there all the time. I'm putting in, some a lot of people doing extra work, door dashing on the side, this, that, whatever they
Mhm.
gotta do, trying to go to school at the same time.
And, like,
And
saying, like, the house and car too, I mean, that's not even always feasible for people. I mean, I feel like I make pretty good money now, but there's no way I could afford a house. Like, that's I feel like that used to be the goal and the dream, at least in, like, previous generations, and now it's I think that's why this is, like, even more of an important question to bring up about, like, who would you be without the grind, because like, those things aren't really attainable as much anymore, without making millions of dollars.
and that still will just get you, it's not like it used to be.
No, it's
So,
not. I remember when
um
I was growing up and, like, thinking, like, $1,000,000 is, just you're set if you win $1,000,000, Now it's like, I don't know. It's
it's
probably
not
gonna
even a
get you
lot of
through,
money.
like, 10 years.
Like, would I take $1,000,000? Of course, but is it a lot of money? Like, nah, you're not set. You still gotta figure things out, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm still gonna get just raped by the government.
yeah,
You only
for
get
sure.
it half,
Yeah,
If that,
60%
right?
maybe.
because then they gonna throw on some extra fees, like, yeah, to wire that money costs this much, so we did the like,
And then you buy a house and your property taxes will just go up every year. So
or
it's
the
a losing
market
battle.
crashes. It's just like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. If the market crashed though, I would try and buy a house.
They say that's the time.
I know.
So, all right. So, as of right now, what would you say? Like, what takes up most of your mental energy right now?
For sure work. For sure. I mean, we work what, Monday through Friday. I try to aim for like a 9 to 5, and that I know that's an 8-hour shift, but it's like by the time you get out of work and home, for me at least, it's usually like 6:30, right? It takes some time to get home. You never leave exactly at 5. And then what?
Right.
I don't want to do anything after that, So that's my whole like Monday through Friday is all work. I feel like there's no real time to do anything after that.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And usually
Mhm.
by the time I get home too, I have a little drive. So by the time I get home, I'm the same. I'm trying to relax and just have dinner, crash out, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like to the main question, would you say that just the weight of having to work, 5 days a week, 8, sometimes like 10 hours, whatever. Some
Mhm.
people do 12, I don't know,
And
or
2
longer,
jobs.
or
Yeah.
2 jobs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The weight of that on like your brain, would you say that like affects people's like creativity and ability to be imaginative? Like almost like a child, when you're a child, you're worry free. Your imagination is like alive and very prominent.
Mhm.
And then, I think as we get older, you lose that, or a lot of people do, because just the weight of kind of being an adult and like learning that, okay, this is your life now. You're going to go to work and or school,
100%.
and the typical, structural ladder that gets laid out.
100%. I mean, I'm an artist, like, that's what I do in my free time. I tend to draw, paint, whatever, but to work up the mental energy to even just get everything out and get it started, I mean, it's never gonna happen after work, pretty much, almost never. So, like, that mental energy is completely gone, devoted to the company, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, I feel like just growing up, like, I've always been told that, like, you go to school, you try your hardest, and then you get a job, you try your hardest. Like, when is it, like, expression time? When is it, like, individuality time, you know? We never get asked that, so I do think it completely I think companies' time pretty much takes up everybody's individual brain time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
Mm.
completely, completely. What do you think, Red? Would you agree with that? Do you just feel, you think people, it's just you too bogged down under the weight of all the thoughts that accumulate from just like your daily survival, to like, people ain't getting enough rest, because by the time you get home, I'm trying to rest, and then I gotta wake up and do it
Yeah,
again.
I think there's, like there's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And let's, you get through a couple of those beginning ones, the food, the shelter, the, whatever, the easy stuff out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, I think uh, most of us experience someone else inserting desires, um, in replace of our creativity from a really young age. I think that's the school system. I think that's the whole idea.
Mhm.
To prepare us for what working a job is, which is someone else's desires being the only thing that we think about. So
So true.
I, yeah, I guess I agree. I think it's but I think I I don't necessarily I think it's worse than that, I guess. I
Ooh,
think I
elaborate.
well, when you don't use a muscle, it doesn't continue to work, you know? Like
That part.
Jess and I joke about jumping rope, you take a few weeks off and you're real fucked up, you know? Yeah,
That's true.
It's
it's
literally
not.
square one. It'll be back to square one in no time. I'm like, damn.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I could feel like a kid again, you know?
Wow.
And that's I think that's part of being creative. It's a muscle, and you got to keep using it. So if say you take 6 years where you take off being creative. Let's even say you're an artist, right? And you're in an
Mm,
artistic setting. Maybe you're a graphic designer as a job, but you know, graphic designing isn't creative in
mhm.
in the way that you probably want to be creative. So, is that really? even honing your skills if, well, 90% of having skill in art is,
So you're saying,
having some creativity.
so you're kind of saying, correct me if I'm wrong, you're kind of saying like, so it limits the way that like society is structured with, say, for example, the education schooling system. You're only learning what they're saying like you should learn, and it limits your free thinking in a way that then affects like your creativity or ability to be like creative, because like your brain didn't just have the freedom to just think, and like who
Mm-hmm.
knows what you would be kind of unlocking if you had the time to just sit around and think about like, okay, how can I make this better, or whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah,
um
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that's a really interesting concept that your imagination is something you can basically lose if you don't use it. I think that's so true. And I think what you're saying, Jesse, is like so true too, that like if we don't if we don't use those things and we lose them, we don't even know what our potential is. We don't even know what we're missing out on basically as a society and as an individual.
okay, yeah, literally
Yeah.
saying
I
that's the points I was speaking to.
Yeah, I think there's something that comes up in the idea that like we're missing something as a society though, because the rich and like hyper, I don't even know, like like doctor class people,
Mhm.
they have access to these schools that are specifically designed to like not have this abrasive structure. Like it is something that is just, forced upon the cattle that are the poor. He-
Fair
The
enough.
I,
pawns.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
no, because like I'm serious. Like I went to a high school, and down the street there was another high school where all the kids got to choose everything that they learned for, well, it started in 8th grade as the high school, but so it was a 5-year program. But it's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, one of the kids was like, "Oh yeah, I did an internship at the UN." It's like, "Oh, why?" It's like, "Oh well, my principal emailed them and said I'm young and I do take great notes." What are we talking about? Like he has a rich, no, his dad worked at Wells Fargo, and like that's what's going on. But like
Yeah.
Huh.
it's like they're in I don't know who they are, right? The overlord class of the hegemony of the United States and greater white populations, and the white populations that control over the brown populations. They have
Yeah.
they don't want a lot of people having fun ideas,
Yeah,
you
because
know.
that leads to revolution.
Well, I mean, revolution or like something that they don't, just like something they deem as ugly,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And like if I mean this is completely like vibe brain, right? Like if we just think, oh, they don't want ugly stuff, that's why they cordoned off all the, that's why they create ghettos, that's why they create favelas. We don't have to see them. They're over there, they're over there, they're over there.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know. And there's like shanty towns getting built in Texas, and
Wow.
supposedly near San Francisco. Supposedly.
That that doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me. They would rather do that than just make things more affordable. Like, isn't that crazy? We could just all have somewhere to live instead. But Nah.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it's hard for people to like know what they would do with the freedom because we've been like scheduled and managed and clocked in, clocked out, supervised, recorded for so long that like the free version of people like they don't know what that it's like a myth or something. It's like Bigfoot. Like you don't know if it's really like I think it's there. Like it could be there. Like I don't know. I don't know what it really looks like. I've just seen, you see glimpses, but like
We've never actually seen it.
I think everyone had a like this blueprint version of themselves before that existed before responsibilities hit. Like and we lose that kind of along the way,
Yeah. Yeah, and plus we all have, like, these distractions too, we have doom scrolling on our phones and, you know, TV, whatever, the internet, like, anything to just kind of distract you and keep you from kind of thinking about these concepts, in my opinion.
Do you think
Let's
like
try to put a number on it. When is that? When do you think it's? Oh, what's a good way to put this question? When do you think society is trying to phase out that creative freedom from us as a lower population?
From
You know,
birth, the school
right
system
from birth.
fro
I would
yeah.
say I agree overall, probably from birth, like immediately, let's start,
Well,
but I
I
I I would say high school, they really start to like
When it gets serious.
yeah, and I do
Yeah,
agree overall, it's like a measured, from the time you're born, you're in this sheltered tunnel of like, this is what they're gonna learn and when and why and how.
yeah.
But I think high school is when it really start because like I feel like middle school, you're still young. I feel like around middle school, I still kind of had a lot of like imagination and wonder, if you will.
Mhm.
Sort of like a child's mind still.
Yeah.
Obviously you're a little older, but then like freshman year high school, it's like a hit, I feel like, to the face. Like I was like life got real. Like it's about like, okay, like get good grades, like it's about what you want to do, like think about college and that, and you're just like, wait, what? Hold on.
I do agree. I do agree. It gets like way more serious as you advance through school, but even the concept of just having to start school from such a young age, I think, Everest, you said it best. It's like you're you're just being prepared for what it's like to work, full time from when you're 5 years old on. This You go to this place, you stay here, you're not at home, like you're not doing what you want to do. You're doing this because this is what we do as a society. So,
Uniformity,
yeah, yeah, it's just
even
takes you
like
out of whatever you would normally be doing, I guess.
even like wearing school uniforms, I feel like was like getting you ready for
Oh,
like
dang, I never had to do that.
wearing a work uniform
Oh,
and
man, what a concept. So true, though.
kind of thing. Yeah, I'm like very, lunchtime. Lunch is
Yeah,
this long. You got two recesses and a lunch. It's like two breaks and a lunch for a job. It's literally a carbon copy. You're just kids
yeah.
that are like, well, we can't work them yet. So
Just enforcing that idea that, like, individuality is not what we celebrate. You're just gonna be part of the masses. You're
yeah, or
gonna
it's
do what
not a
everybody else is
priority.
doing.
Like do that on your
Yeah.
own time. Your little 20 minutes at the end of the day you
Yeah.
got free. That's
Yeah,
that's
for
when
real.
you work on, so it takes a lot. Like I give credit to people that built something up or, in any way were able to achieve what they wanted outside of like their work life. Like, cause it is difficult just the time alone too, much less your
Yeah.
energy. I feel like work like kind of becomes your identity in a way because it's
Mhm.
so prominent or it feels that way. That's why you don't know what you would do without work. Cause I'd be bored without work. Cause I agree with what you said earlier about like you never had the time to think about like what you would do. So it's blank in
Yeah.
there. It's literally like a clean canvas. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I was always like a people pleaser, and that kind of like translated into my work. You know, I'd always be like, well, how do I be the best? Like, how do I work harder than everybody else and like, you know, keep growing and getting to the top? And I feel like once I actually kind of was successful at that, it forced me to like stop and be like, wait, all right, so like now what? Like, now what? Like, I doesn't really make you happy. It's nice to have the financial freedom, but like, who am I outside of work? Like, who am I as a person? You know, if I didn't have this
Are you?
job or any job,
Are you a person?
am I a person?
I
Ooh,
mean,
phew,
You
that's a
know,
rabbit hole.
there we
if
go.
well, no, but like if you've been crushed like long enough
Mhm.
by school and work, have you gained enough to be a person? You know what I mean? Like not
Yeah,
necessarily in a bad way, obviously. It's just, there's something stunting or
yeah.
So
Like,
something.
what is your identity?
is that like confusing your productivity with your worth as a
Mhm.
kind of as a person?
Mhm.
Like you're kind of like, well, if I'm not productive, am I valuable? Am I worth the trouble, or should I be able to ask for more if
Yeah.
I
I
haven't
mean,
been that
that's
productive?
that's definitely an aspect of it, but I'm thinking more from the other side. So like what, if how long would it take without these, having to work, having to find food, having to find shelter, how long would it take to become an actualized, quote unquote actualized person, you know? Like it is, because
Years.
that's probably our goal, right? That's probably our goal.
Yeah.
But, you know, if it would take years, how do we fuel this? How do we fuel it taking years? Do we take the shortcut, like drugs? So
Mm.
some people would say, that's like what a coming of age ceremony was.
Mm.
It
Mhm.
was a a way to accelerate somebody's actualization and their role, understanding of their role in the community. That's essentially what the goal is in, like, not having a job, right? It's finding your place in the world.
Mhm. I mean, I feel
Purpose.
like the fuel is really at like just cutting back and the self-awareness. I feel like the self-awareness is the first step of like admitting that you don't have an identity outside of work. So, but to get there, you kind of have to have the financial freedom to be able to have the time to sit with yourself and ask yourself those questions. So, really, I guess the first step to fuel that kind of society would be making sure that people are taken care of. Like making sure that people are not living in lack, living in a world without shelter, without food, without the basic essentials so that they can think, have free thinking.
Right. So those kind of first and foremost needs, like
Yeah. But I
basic in
mean,
the sense that you
drugs too.
need them like fundamentally.
I mean, I'm all for it. I do think that
Hey,
sometimes that could help. So
I mean, I'm with it.
get some
Uh,
LSD and just have an ego death. Have
I mean,
some
people use that for therapy. I've been reading, and it's just like,
anything to break through the walls, right? The
hey,
mental barriers that have been instilled in us from birth.
yeah, built up like early on.
Mhm.
I feel
Yeah.
like there's like hustle culture kind of gaslights people into burnout. Like it's like they said, like, American culture is kind of like, if you're not tired, you're not doing enough.
Damn, burnout.
people kind of treat it like a badge of honor when it's more of like a warning sign that like
It's an
you're about to crash
epidemic.
out.
It's an
Yeah.
epidemic in my opinion. I think that more people are burnt out than they even know. Burnout is an epidemic in our society. I think people are really struggling with being like emotionally nervous system dysregulated and they don't even know what's wrong with them and that's why we're all so sick. Um because it's just you're constantly working, you don't even have time or energy to listen to your own body.
Right.
So, yeah, burnout is crazy. I don't even have any other words for it.
Yeah, no, I mean that's really hitting it on the head, you know?
Yeah, it's too bad. I just don't think it needs to be like that.
I feel like when yeah, no, and then on top of that, I feel like when people like if you're struggling,
Mhm.
with anything really, free time feels like illegal or something like that. Like you're like,
Yeah,
oh, I should be doing something, and then that just creates more burnout, kind of like
yeah.
that
It's like
pressure.
shamed
Yeah,
to be just like chilling. It's wrong.
yeah, it's.
We need more chill time as a society. People would be a lot calmer and probably more mentally stable.
Do you think there's do you guys think there's parts of us that exist only because of like survival, like the need to survive?
Ooh, what do you mean by that?
So, like to the bigger question, like if we didn't have to work, you had the time to kind of do things you wanted to do, like work and survival mode as it
Mhm.
is today wasn't a factor, like who's left?
Ooh,
Which is
who's
sort of a
left?
deeper question I'm pulling out here, but like just off the top, like who's left? Like I feel like a lot of people might be different, like significantly different without the weight of that grind, that survival. Because I mean your values would change, I think. At least in my opinion, like your values might change. Um
And if you're not dedicating all that time to just like, being a professional whatever, you know, then
Yeah.
you're dedicating that time to something else. So, what those things are would probably be heavily influenced by whatever society it is, but I don't know. For me, it would be a lot more art. That's for sure. Probably a lot more health like inclined activities too. I really like hiking, but I really only have time to go once a week when I'm not working.
Would you go to the
I get
doctor
that.
more?
Ooh, like
Would
if
you
it
need
wasn't
to?
like a
Would
million
you need to?
dollars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like let's say it wasn't $1 million. Like you do have the
Yeah.
time. Would you go to the doctor more?
Hmm. I probably would. I'd probably get like annual checkups maybe or something. I'm a big advocate of like holistic healing. So I feel like the internet is my doctor sometimes. So maybe I'm a special case.
That can be good and bad. You're like, I'm dying.
Might
Shouldn't have
need
looked it up.
Yeah, he might need less therapy, like mental help. Mm.
Would you need to go to the doctor as much though? I mean, not that. I mean, if you don't have to go a lot now, then hey,
No, I
more
think you
power
would
to you. That's
not.
good. But
As
but
a
you
society, I don't think we would be going to the doctor as much or needing it. I don't think we'd be as sick. That's
But
for
like,
sure.
have you guys ever gotten like regular blood scans, like
Yeah.
you know how much calcium and your hormones and there's a like I think that's a really good way to show health, but I think a lot of people
Mhm.
don't go because it is so time and money inhibitive.
That is a good point. Even the time. appointments in general, like, if you have any sort of appointment, it's gonna be on your free time, and then you just have less free time. I mean, right now, it's, like, Saturday, Sunday, right? One of those days is gonna be chores, and then if you add an appointment in there, boom, your weekend's gone. Weekend's gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're right.
So
So go ahead.
let's say you've decided to live an ascetic life, right? You are going to be um free of money. You do get to pursue whatever you desire. You're not restricted from using money, right?
Mhm,
So if somebody gives you money, you can buy food.
mhm.
Um, but most ascetics are just given food constantly. What's stopping you from doing that now? Like it seems that there is a way to access this lifestyle, but maybe not in the most comfortable way,
Mhm.
right? Is the comfort the limiting factor here? Like, is comfort what we give up to not pursue what we could?
Big time. Big time, yeah. However, I also think that it's, like, going back to, like, the wage gap issue, I don't necessarily think that the issue is that, you know like, yeah, I'm not gonna give up all my belongings and go be a monk, like, it's not gonna happen. I do love my creature comforts, I love my material items, I love my house, and those things do cost money. I guess what I'm saying is, like, the the grind, though, doesn't have to be a grind. Like, I feel like it should just be, like, somewhere in the middle, where it's like, you could still live your life and also be able to afford regular modern comforts.
Right? Isn't that kind of like the suburban ideal?
I
Like,
mean, yeah,
yeah.
definitely. It is the ideal. It is the ideal, but I want it for everybody, like, I don't think there's necessarily, like
Oh, you don't want to keep black people out of the suburbs?
everybody should have a suburban life if they want it, and it should be attainable, it shouldn't be like that you're having to work 2 jobs and for, $18 an hour each. It just doesn't make any sense. Just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, to go back to your question, it's the comfort for sure. That's why I have not become a monk. What about
Yeah,
you?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm necessarily against the grind.
Okay.
I haven't really decided, I guess. But because I think it might be a consistent throughout human history that you shouldn't really try to escape. You know, are we really better than our ancestors in the fact like they were struggling for food? You know,
Mhm.
it is struggle what makes humans like really humans.
Hmm.
Christians would say yes. Christians would say, overcoming that struggle is what makes you closer to God or whatever.
Hmm.
Buddhists would also agree. You know, life is struggle, and without it, like, are you really living? That's a question they constantly ask. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of the ideas like you only have to suffer so much.
Mm-hmm.
There's the sevenfold path, like for Buddhism, like there is an easiest way.
Mm-hmm.
Christians believe it's through, Jesus, Islam, following Muhammad. The Jews don't really have it, but once they believe their savior comes, like there will be a path open to them. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so there is like all of these ideas of you know making your way through suffering completes your life. And if you don't suffer enough, like can you ever really, what is it, walk the stairway to heaven, or
But playing
find
playing devil's
nirvana?
advocate, playing devil's advocate on that though. I mean, a lot of I feel like those religious ideologies were written to kind of make people feel better about their suffering so that that they would continue to comply in their society. So it's like basically like propaganda. It's religious propaganda. In my opinion, a lot of times where it's like, yeah, the struggle is justified because at the end of it you get to do this great thing and go to heaven or whatever. But we don't know if that's true, obviously, unless you're dead. And so then maybe you'll know. But I don't know. So I hear you that like maybe like the struggle does, I'm sure it does like bring out character, develop your character, but is that the character that we're trying to develop? Is that what we're trying to aim for? Or should we be aiming for a different kind of character development? I don't know.
I
I don't
mean,
know the answer either.
yeah, but like let's say we were designed by the Anunnaki, right?
Okay.
If we follow that idea, we are just um in pursuit of growth. And as long as we do that, like is that enough to be a human? Probably.
Hmm.
Probably. Now, if you think of like the non-stressful growth as like a beautiful indoor grow, right, Jesse? Like
Hmm.
you limit stressors so much. You limit, temperature changes in the water. You limit, I mean, airflow. I mean, it's
Like a
everything.
controlled environment
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
kind of
a
thing.
complete controlled
Okay.
environment, and the plants grow great, right? And they grow consistently. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more uh what I would be worried about. You know,
Hmm.
when you have something growing consistently, mutations that happen, and they will, right, are not mutations that the plant is necessarily ready to to, to fully understand.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Whereas, you are doing, genetic stress growing in a rainforest in Oregon, and the entire point is to, expose your plant to mold and, multiple days of freezing to
Hmm.
develop this more expressive character. Now is that the same as, when you see a foster kid that's been raped and passed around from house to house, and how they're, usually one of the funniest people in the room, one of the most, you know, kind, like gregarious people Like, is that what we're seeing with those plants? And like,
Hmm.
is that what it takes to really get that type of person? Like, well, I would hope not, because I would never hope, abuse
Right.
upon
Yeah.
someone.
You're
But
just comparing the two. So you're saying like those like being exposed to like those traumas or like stresses, does that
yeah,
build up like okay. Does that
That is
build
a
up
really good point.
the same type
Yeah.
of character? Like with the plants, it can make them maybe stronger or mutate them.
Hmm.
Now that if it's better or worse depends on the mutation, I guess. But like for a person, is it the same?
That
yeah,
is such a good point. I mean, yeah, if we're all indoor grows and we're, we're not really exposed to, the things that have made us who we are, whether they be traumatic or not, it's yeah, it's interesting. Like, what kind of person are we then growing? I get that. It's kind of an unknown because I do think you're right about like traumatic events making people more funny, making them more empathetic. So yeah, so what kind of person comes out of a ideal society? What do they think? How do they behave? Hmm.
That's kind of that's those are good insights because when I was saying like if survival wasn't a factor, who's left? It's almost like yeah, if you didn't have to like do the things you've had to do in your life,
Mm-hmm.
like who would you be? Like if the
Yeah.
plant wasn't exposed to like mold and freezing cold temperatures and winds and rain and stuff like that, if it was just inside, like what would the difference in the plant be? And why? Like why is this plant maybe more
Yeah.
resilient than this other one or something like that?
In like my idealism brain, I'm like, well, I want to think that people are, innately good and that they're, empathetic naturally. But yeah, it's impossible to really know.
yeah,
We're not
yeah.
indoor grown.
What's
Yeah.
is I'm sure there's a sci-fi where like there's no crime, like The Giver or something like that.
I was
Are
thinking Fallout when they're like, the show Fallout, where they're like
Yeah.
all in the bunkers for centuries, so they like kind of form their own society. I was thinking like that, that came to mind, because
okay? Do
then
they have
there's
crime?
always somebody there's always somebody who, like, rises to power, who's still in charge, who still manages the whole thing. They still have community jobs, there is still crime, and, there's still jail. So it's yeah. Hmm, I don't know.
And yeah, I'm sure that's a commentary on, the human condition. We can't escape, killing one another for some, reason, good or
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, the emotional regulation skills still have to be there or taught. Yeah. Hmm.
Is the struggle just our, last remaining um connection to that animal, evolution side?
Hmm. Yeah,
You know,
potentially.
like do we get to become aliens essentially, like after we let go of the struggle? We become amorphous blobs, just like in Wally, but we can better like squeeze into a rocket ship, you know.
Yeah, what kinda evolution is happening at that point?
I do think we gotta have like struggle, but in the sense of challenges. I don't think struggle just to have struggle is like that wouldn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, like, your basic needs should still be covered. Your survival basic
Yeah,
need.
because you can't what can you really achieve if you can't just like do the basics of maintaining yourself
Yeah.
and
I
or
mean,
your family unit, which is like yourself in a way. But I mean like, yeah, if you could barely take care of them or yourself alone, it's like how are you gonna achieve and overcome these other separate challenges and issues you have to maneuver and things like that? Like, how you gonna overcome that if you can barely keep yourself up? It's like
Yeah, I completely agree. And
that,
I
that
feel like if we're doing so good as a society that we all become amorphous blobs, like I'm down to explore that. I'm down to explore that society where we're all chilling so hard that who knows what happens. We're just single-celled bacteria. Down. Down to check it out.
Yeah, squid people.
Yeah, yeah,
is that
funny.
evolution or de-evolution? Like, are we going forward or back? What's happening?
We've just all, like, developed hive minds at that point.
Right?
Yeah.
Just communicate telepathically. We can just
Oh, man.
I think to answer the question like pretty generically, I would grow food.
You would grow food.
Yeah, I think that's
I like it.
I think that's a um human like something that has to be done as a human, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know,
No,
you
I
gotta
definitely agree with that. It's
you,
essential.
yeah, you gotta feed yourself.
Yeah, essential to know how to, grow food and yeah, fundamental. And obviously, I mean, I know that you like that to some degree to like grow things. You know, some people want to garden,
Mhm.
some people want to paint, some people want to travel, some people want to do some random, like, I don't know, learn glass blowing or sword forging. But the
I
important thing
literally wanna
is,
do all those things.
I mean, right? You'd have the time is the
Yeah.
most important thing. I think like you would be able
Yeah.
to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna just do some random shit and not feel guilty about like the time I used or spent doing it.
Yeah. Just
It's
have the
about
time to
it's
think
kind of
about it.
about this permission you give or don't give yourself in a way.
Yeah, can you go deeper on that I don't know if guilt is the word that you used, but I would love to hear
Permission.
more
I would
about
say
that. Yeah,
permission
permission. Yeah, permission.
Mhm.
because with yourself because like permission to rest, permission to like imagine, permission to build. Sometimes you catch somebody like, oh, okay, if you could do this, this, and this, what would you do? I don't know. I got to think about it. It's because like your brain is dead. It's
Mhm.
so weighed down that by the time someone's like, all right, in your natural mind, creative mind, like what's going on? Nothing. The lights are out in there. It's dark. It's just like there was no permission given to that part of the brain. Like imagine what you could potentially unlock with more like creative freedom time. Or just in general, who knows what you would just randomly think of because your brain was free to just like wonder,
Yeah.
with like the curiosity and stuff. So giving yourself that permission to rest and not feel guilty for resting or like be like you violated some type of permission. Um and the other things I mentioned, like permission to like imagine something, create something just for the fun of it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think definitely also just, like, being able to give yourself permission to do nothing, I think is the biggest one. 'Cause I don't know about you guys, but, like, my mom, for example, she's, like, incapable of relaxing. Like, she's just always gotta be on the move, like, just always moving, doing something, and if she's sitting for, like, 30 seconds, it's like she's already standing back up. She's like, "I gotta go do this, gotta do that," and I feel like that is very common with, like, the generation before us, at least in my experience, people have not ever learned the skill of just being able to relax, and probably because they couldn't, they didn't have that luxury at all. Uh, my mom's a single mom of 4 kids, so she was always working, and, I don't think she ever felt like she was worthy of, you know, anything, any sort of like respect without having that work.
Oh wow.
Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, I think that's a big deal, like the
Like,
skill of relaxing.
yeah. Again, trying to like you confuse your like productivity with your worth. Like, nah, you still
Mhm.
deserve like you still should be able to take some time for yourself because it's your life. It's only you only got, So if I want to take a day and do nothing, I think I should be entitled. And
Yeah.
you think that, but at the same time, when you're doing nothing, you feel that and then in my mind, you're not really resting in that time because your brain's still kind of reeling.
Yeah.
So you're honestly just, then you're kind of wasting time because you said you was gonna rest, but you sitting there thinking about it and you
Yeah,
know,
thinking about all the things you could be doing instead.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly,
not really
exactly.
rest, I agree.
So yeah, to back to your went on a total rant there. Back to your original question though, Red, I'm saying like permission, just giving yourself permission, man, to rest, to build, to think freely outside of the societal norms of what is, been pressed upon you since birth or since like, you first started getting like into the school system.
What we've got, I don't know. I really don't like the idea that we can't get there. That those thoughts are repressed. Like
Same. I don't like to think that you can't get back there.
Yeah.
You can't re-fire up your imagination. Like I got it going again. I just had to like knock the dust off and like straighten some shit up in there. It's been a while.
yeah,
I think it's
like
always there.
like what's really stopping you know you in a day? Is it waking up 20 minutes earlier?
I guess mindset in that case,
Mm.
because I mean, if you've yeah, like, if you have the mindset of, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get up early so I can, like, get all this stuff done," and, like, whatever, use your imagination, express yourself however you want to. I think, yeah, it's probably mindset, but I do think that a lot of that's also, like I don't know, I do think burnout kinda prevents that or, like, doesn't it discourages that kind of mindset.
So like a freedom mindset. Like, do you
Mhm,
think I think the grind kind of gives you the impression that you don't have control of your life. Like
mhm,
it's you're born into like this kind of like obligation in a way
mhm.
more than you are your own life as like they say it is and it is.
Yeah.
Like doesn't feel like it sometimes feels like I just have to like do these things and like I didn't sign up for this and like what the like type of deal sometimes, but I think, you know, part of that permission is remembering like you could literally do whatever you want. I don't mean like we obviously have laws and things we gotta, abide by, but in the sense of like you could attack the day any way you want. You can get up 20 minutes earlier because you got the freedom to. You could actually do that. Now,
Mhm,
whether you feel like it and want to, that's a conversation you gotta have with yourself. But would that give you more time to do what you needed, kind of thing? Like
mhm,
in some way, there might be a way to get there by attacking it in that way, like putting your efforts towards like that freedom, doing the little extra things you need to,
mhm.
as hard as it may be, like to awaken that in yourself, restart your imagination, if you will. Like there's times I come home and I don't want to work on like something for the show, like writing all the time. I'm tired, but like and I'm not obligated to do this by any means. It's not like
Yeah.
no one's employing this over here yet. No, yet no, but um I still do it because I want like something for this.
Yeah.
I have just a goal and a vision. So, it's we gotta push. Like getting back to my original point is like we have to have those challenges we overcome to like solidify who we are, but there should be like a balance to it. Like I should be able to have the rest I need and the freedom and non-pressure to think about things I want to think about, not what life or society says I got to think about, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I do think that those thoughts and that mindset is always available to us. It's just I just think that our current working culture discourages it from coming to, like, the forefront of your brain. You know, I think that it is kind of pushed aside, and like you guys were saying earlier, it's a muscle, right? So it's like it's still there, but it's not gonna be as strong or as used as it could be if you did have more of a balance, you know, for your personal life. I mean, I still draw, I still paint, but, like, do I do it as much as I would if I had more free time? Definitely not. I mean, I draw, you know, maybe once or twice a month.
Right.
When
And
I was a kid and I had less responsibilities, I was drawing all the time, so
right. And I was going to speak to that like so yeah, you're an artist. You draw, you paint. So like the more you do it, it would enhance your creativity more. I mean, right?
Mhm.
You would think then if you did it periodically, it sort of limit because your brain's not focused on that. So like
Yeah.
you said like a muscle, like, well, I don't use it as much. Like I used
Mhm.
to work out every day and now I work out like, I don't know, every other week, couple times a month. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So I get that. I understand that.
Nah, I
What do
think
you
you
think?
should. I think you should just be doing it every day. You know.
Just do it.
Uh,
Just push
yeah.
through.
I think you gotta.
Agreed.
I think that when like I was a janitor, and I wrote I probably wrote like 20 poems a day while I was a janitor. You
Wow.
know, you got your hand in a woman's bathroom, and you're like just scrubbing around in the toilet, and you're like, well, you know what? That's a really funny thought. And you gotta just obviously you can't always like draw while cleaning a toilet,
Yeah.
obviously, but you can
You're
you
good. If
can
you could do that, you're
I
good. Let
mean,
me tell you something.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you're next
get
level.
get get on YouTube, get on
I
YouTube.
don't even care what you drew. I'm like, how did
No, but like you can start your day warming up coffee and a 10-minute sketch while your coffee's starting. You know,
Yeah.
like, and I think that's the first barrier to conquering what society has done to us. It's like you know, the burden that we can handle is high.
Mhm.
Humans are an amazing creature. So if we decide that you know we want to rev the engines a little earlier in the day, just for a little uh me time while the coffee's brewing, like there's nothing stopping us, right?
Mhm.
And I think you know a lot of workplaces and stuff do try to instill in us that no, that's actually bad. We want you to come in here, and here is where you expend the first of your energy, and then you know you go home and you have like you know men's league, basketball, you have men's league, but it all happens later in the day, which is
Mhm.
fine. But there is there's morning time that can be positive for you. Sadly, it has to be broken by this huge
Yeah.
workday. But I, even I used to joke at one of the places I worked that you had to like I would scream in my car for 20 minutes before I came into work so I wouldn't scream at anybody in work. right?
Oh
So,
wow.
you know, I worked with a lot of, you know, literally teenagers.
Mm,
So, and you know, you run the whole brigade, but you know, you can't, but you get it out all, but like that's part of something that isn't the normal mindset for the entirety of the workplace.
yeah.
You know, the same thing goes for like being creative. You know, you smash out, you know, something, you know, right in the car, and then you go into work, and you know, maybe that creative energy like is there for the rest of the day. You know, probably
Yeah.
not. Let's be real, probably not, and it's probably gonna suck because you're gonna realize it went away. But
But maybe eventually, maybe like the first time, no, and the second time, no. But the third, fourth time, all of a sudden, like it's like using that muscle. Like, okay, well, at first,
Yeah.
like you don't see the results. It's like working out. First couple of days, you like, man, this shit ain't working.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's super valid. I do think that's valid that you can figure out a way to make this our current grind culture work for you and, you know, like yeah, like find workarounds in it. But I think that like what you're describing is someone with like a really strong and like what's the word? Like disciplined mindset. You know, I don't think that that's the norm. I think that like that I mean that's a skill that you can learn and you can develop, but that's also again assuming that you're not burnt the fuck out, you know? Like that you have the energy to even start a new routine, a new habit.
Yeah, he's talking Mamba mentality right there.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
I'm like,
go
I'm like,
getters, the
ideally,
Kobe's.
sure, like
Where you
10
at?
minutes in the morning, that sounds doable, but like in practice, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe, you know, maybe that's my life that I struggle to do that kind of thing. But I feel like for me, like creativity has to kind of come naturally. It's not like necessarily something that I can force. I do think like you're right that you can like, you know, develop that habit and kind of get warmed up, but I I've always needed to like kind of be in that just like flow into that mindset of creativity instead of like sitting down and being like, "Yes, this is the time I have to be creative. I need to do it now." You know, like that's just never worked
Pressure.
for me. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
doesn't it the outcome is not typically what I'm looking for.
Okay, so that freedom is important. It kind of feeds that creativity because it can naturally just
Yeah.
create itself.
I mean, I'm like half a person in the morning. Like, I'm not even fully awake or aware, you know? Like my whole morning is just me getting myself ready for work basically, and then I'm
Right?
at work.
Not operating at 100. You're like,
Yeah, yeah, I feel like my brain like turns on around like 1 PM. So
I'm like an old desktop booting up,
yeah.
taking a second, but
Yeah, for
it'll come
real.
on.
For real.
I
So
mean
it's more. Go ahead, Red.
no, that's exactly when you should set aside some time.
I know, but that's the
As
middle of your workday.
I mean, 1 o'clock's lunch, right? You can set a hard lunch for one and just say, everyone, I'm always going to be at lunch at 1.
Yeah. You're funny. You're funny. You think I could do that? That's not how work goes. Yeah, right.
So you're kind of speaking to the point more like, because I agree, like challenges and things, that's good for you, but like I said, the balance, like your life should feel like it's your life, like you're in control.
First. First, not the company's life first, you know, it's your
Yeah.
life
Oh,
first.
definitely, definitely.
But yeah, it's just not how it's set up.
And society can be overbearing in that sense to where like you just are like a slave to the grind. Like you're just like, yeah, every day I'm getting up, I'm going to work. I
Yeah.
don't even think about, and I have this issue too. Like I've realized things even through this, us like, conversing about this.
Mhm.
there are certain things like I don't know what I would want in this situation because I never thought about it because I didn't have the time because there's so much going on. You're just going from one, thing to the next. Like,
Just in survival mode. Yeah. Yeah. It's the fight or flight mode activated 24/7 in
yep.
America.
It's like if you're treading water and then someone's like, "Well, what would you do if you could like eat anything you
If you
wanted right now?"
weren't.
You're like, "I don't know. I'm not worried about what I want to eat. If I could have what?" Like
So
you're just like,
true.
"Ah," like so it's just very,
Yeah,
probably a
what would you
horrible
do
analogy, but
what would you do if you weren't drowning right now?
you're like,
I don't know, ask me when I'm not
wrong
drowning.
question, yeah, to ask me right now. You don't. You're like, and then you get frustrated if they do ask, like, I don't
Yeah.
know, and then they're like,
Oh,
you don't
man.
know, and you're like, no, I don't know.
I'm kinda worried about breathing right now.
Yeah, it must be nice to have the time to think about, that's how
Yeah.
people feel, I think, and it's just very like, it could be frustrating, but like I said, from your mind being so weighed down, by the time you
Yeah.
get home, most people into their workday, you don't have any creative juices flowing. Your brain is
No.
dead. It's probably dead most
Yeah.
times.
Only every once in a blue moon, I'm like, "Okay, I feel ready to draw something, after work," but typically, definitely, that's not what's happening. I'm gonna smoke and chill and recover for the next day.
Yeah, because on some level, your mind's already thinking about the next day.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
that
yeah.
space is kind of taken up in a sense
Yeah.
as well, because like you're already like, okay, I got like you're looking at the time, like what time do I gotta be in bed? Like all these
Mhm.
little things that are just eating up the space in your brain.
Yeah. So true.
So yeah, it's that feeling of obligation, that you want to lose and have more of like you were saying, that freedom mindset.
Yep. Yeah, just the freedom to live and what we're doing to be determined.
I mean, yeah, it's do you think purpose is something that you find or something that you build?
Ooh. Is purpose something that you find or something that you build? Purpose. Is it something that you find or something you build? I kind of think it is something that I think it's something you choose. I
Okay.
think it's something that you choose. I think it's something that you decide on personally. Yeah. Like I think it's something that you don't have to build it necessarily. You don't have to find it. I think you just decide. I think you just decide what your
Okay.
purpose is.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like option C.
It's something I've thought
No,
about a lot because,
that's that's
it's
fair.
it's like it kind of goes back to like what makes you happy and like what are you doing with your free time? It's like your purpose, if your purpose isn't work and your identity is not work, then, what do you want your purpose to be? And like for me, it's kind of gone back to like finding joy and I think just like living a life that is joyous in the best way possible for me. I feel like that is kind of like my purpose. That's the purpose that I've decided on, that I've
Okay.
chosen.
That makes sense. Okay, so deciding like what your purpose is, that's fair.
What do you
Cuz
think?
I think well, honestly, I do agree with what you said. Um I do think it's something you build, but in that same sense of choosing, like you
Hmm.
choose what you're gonna uh like find your purpose in or like cement your purpose in, like I'm gonna go into this and I'm gonna build, I don't
Yeah.
know, a business or whatever, whatever your little like niches that's for you.
Hmm.
And then that freedom sort of introduces you to the version of you that has been waiting, like kind of like the actual, I think, who you are, which is all what we're trying to like get to.
Hmm.
Um do you ever get there? I don't know. It could just be the about the journey to try to get
Mhm.
there. But yeah, so sort of a mix of what you said and building, I would say, like, but I do think it is a choice, like
Yeah.
getting back to the sense of like you're in control of your life. It's yours. So, set yourself up where you want to be.
Yeah, because like, you could be, like, really good at something, and somebody could be like, "Wow, like, you should do that," like, that's you're made to do that, but, like, if it's not what you want to do, then, it's like, what do you wanna choose?
They're
What do
like,
you
I can't
want to
stand that. And
choose?
you're like, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
like, for like, art, for example, people tend to tell me, like, "Oh, like, you should just be, like, an artist full time, blah, blah," and it's like, yeah, but, like, I don't wanna just, like, paint, full time, like, I wanna do other stuff too, and I don't that's why it's not my career because I can't just sit down and just do that 24/7. I feel like I get much more purpose, honestly, from, like, cats, like, fostering cats, like, that's why I do that. So it's like, it just depends on what you wanna do with your time. Um,
Would that be something you did say
if we didn't
um
have to worry about money and
yeah,
the
like
grind.
say either it didn't exist or it was just no object for you, like, oh, I could pay what it like for whatever reason you got all the money you need,
Yeah.
like, because that's something that wouldn't change in the world. Like animals would still need to be sheltered and fostered and those kind of things. And there would still be a lot to do. I feel like people act like there'd still be not people have tend to be like, there'd be nothing to do. I'd be
Yeah.
bored. I'm like, well, you could still like
You still have to
do
get stuff
things,
done, yeah.
like travel and go eat good food, and like there would be stuff to do. It wouldn't just be
Uh,
like, well, nothing happens now. It's
I
like, well,
I do personally find a lot of purpose in, like, in taking care of animals and, like, helping animals. I feel a large sense of purpose when I do that. So that is why I do it. Brings me joy to be able to do that. But, yeah, I think I don't know, I still think it's just a choice. It's whatever brings you happiness.
gives you that fulfillment.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a feeling.
What do you think, Red? Is this something you find, or is purpose something you build, or is it a choice?
I'm more of a porpoise guy. Um,
All right, fair enough.
yeah, I don't know. I think purpose. I mean, it's more of a loaded word than anything. You
Mm,
know, like purpose kind of implies like destiny in my mind.
mm.
There was an end point. A purpose is like an end point for a tool. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's where I got stuck. Just
That's
the
that's a fair. So,
Yeah.
but I agree with you. Like when you hear like, well, what's your purpose? You feel like it's kind of destiny, fate related. But I do feel like purpose could be more personal. Like it could just be like it doesn't have to be what's your purpose in the world. Just it could be like, well, what's your purpose in your life? Like what do you feel like you're supposed to be doing for you, not for the world, or like making some groundbreaking difference
Yeah.
if you don't want to. Just like, well, in my life I feel like I should be I like cats and I want to shelter and foster cats. um I couldn't think of anything because my imagination's worn down from the grind of life. No, but so I'm using that. No, but for example, because I get like fulfillment from that.
Yeah.
Like I get whatever like that stimulates my happiness or what have you. So
I also think it's something that could change, like, that's changing over, like, ever changing, throughout your life. I don't think it's necessarily something that you're not gonna find the same purpose, in 20 years potentially. Like, you might find something that means more to you later. I don't think that it's something that you have to, like, attach yourself to for a lifetime. I do think that people get caught up with that, with like the destiny thing. I think that, people think that you have to find this specific purpose and you have to find it kind of thing. I think that's why I think that choosing is a better way to go about it, because it kind of takes the pressure off of you to like find this thing, this crazy thing that's like going to bring your life meaning. I think it's just like whatever brings you happiness right now is what you're supposed to be doing probably.
Maybe it's mistaken to like it's said to find it when really you just have to choose it. So you're looking for something that's like it could be anything because you just got to make a choice whole time. You're like,
Yeah.
nothing's popping out. So you're like, well,
Yeah.
just pick something.
Exactly.
Oh, well, just pick something. You said fine. So I'm like, is it
It's like, what do you
glowing?
like
Is
to
it,
do? Well, make that your purpose right now, That's whatever brings your life meaning to you, then I think that's your purpose.
and I agree, like it might change as you go. Like I think you should be ever changing to some degree. That shows growth. I mean, if you just
Yeah.
go 20, 30 years, just no thought in your mind or value anything changed, it's like
And if you
that's
do still
weird.
like the same thing, like that's cool too, but I think that it's just important not to like get attached to that one thing and, because
Or
what if it
feel
doesn't.
feel locked in. Like, oh,
Yeah, like what
I
if it
can't
doesn't bring
change.
you the same joy later in life?
It's kind of like, kids that say they go to college, right? And then they major in something, but they don't like it.
Yeah.
They feel like, oh, now I gotta still do it, or like,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, that's kind of what college is for. I mean, to figure out what you want, but also what you don't want. That part doesn't really get. Because how else do you know if you want something unless you explore it? Like, yeah, I started going into that field, but then I was like, this is not what I thought.
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's
had
what I
that.
did.
You had that outside view, looked cool, actually learned the basics of it and principles, and I was like, yo, this shit is not. Nope.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
looked cool. It wasn't. Maybe,
100%. I agree. I think that like school should be more like just for explorative purposes so that you can find what you want to do. But since it's so expensive, it's like you have to lock into that one choice. So I think that's why people get caught up with it. That being said, I mean, I did go to college for television production, and that is not what I'm doing with my
what are we
life.
doing? Hold on. What? I did not
Yeah.
know that. Wait, what are we doing? Hold up.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I got a bachelor's degree in
What
television
are we
production, and then
doing?
I did that, I did that for, for a while, like, freelance
Red,
after
we just got a
school,
deal.
but
We just got our deal.
but the
I'm just
thing
kidding.
the thing about it was that, like, I didn't like the culture, like, every set that I worked on was so like, people would be so egotistical, and, like, it was very misogynistic, like, I just
Wow.
never felt like I belonged or like I was having fun really, like, very few amounts of sets that I was on did I feel that way. And also, like, you get paid nothing, sometimes literally nothing. You have to intern for like a while before you can even get a job. So that wasn't an option for me either.
I didn't know
And,
that.
yeah, it's crazy. So, honestly, like, I got after doing it for 4 years in college and then or, like, 5.5 years more like, I was pretty burnt out of it, honestly, even exiting college, I was like, "I don't even really have fun doing this anymore." But I
Well,
still tried to make it work for a while, and, I'm so glad that I didn't, that I didn't get, like, too attached to that because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, and it's a lot more fun, so
I know Red knows about that. He's been like close to like showbiz kind of too, but I had no idea it was like that on sets and like
Well, it's just every set's different, you just never it's just like it's just a new job, It's every time you go to a new set, it's a new job basically. So, you're working with different people and yeah,
yeah.
that
you never
that
know what you're gonna get.
I think I have a good question that we can um leave people with. Uh what if your purpose, or you feel like your purpose, is to cause harm?
Ooh.
I think this, we look out, you know, and we we love to, um, you know, not everybody should be self-actualizing. Some people might be self-actualizing into damaging other people.
Hmm.
If you are out there, what's that like? Feeling like you haven't become a human because you haven't killed someone or eaten someone's heart. Let us know.
Jeffrey Dahmer, let us know.
Damn, that's wild. That's wild. It's because they weren't raised as indoor plants. That's why they have those thoughts though. The traumas.
Those are definitely outdoor desert
So those are outdoor thoughts.
plants. No. Stress plants. Stress weed plants.
Follow us on Instagram, Red and Dreaad Podcast.
Subscribe. Like the video. Sarah, thank you to our guest. It was
Thank
a
you for
pleasure
having
to
me.
have you.
It's been a great time.
Red and Dreaad Podcast. I'm Dread.
I'm Red.
I'm Sarah.
All right, peace. We'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.